My name is Glenda Hammond. I am the director of the Upward Bound program. It's more than just a program, it's a mission. I was hired into the university as a learning specialist up in the Learning Resources Center. During that time, I was asked to develop a pilot reading program for the Upward Bound students. The program was very successful, and then I wrote an article in the Reading Journal about the pilot reading program. And after that, they asked me to be the reading instructor part-time while I was still working in the Learning Resources Center. I love being an educator, and I wanted to work with students for whom I could make a difference. So I felt that I had that opportunity in the Learning Resources Center with college students who needed help with reading and writing and so on. But when I was introduced to Upward Bound, it gave me an even greater opportunity to help students who, without that kind of support, would not even make it to college.
I'm Johnny Island, and my position is academic coordinator. Glenda interviewed me over the phone, and she had never seen me, and she hired me. And I was assistant to Glenda, the instructor or something. And she was not the director, she was the academic coordinator, I think, and I worked under her.
My name is Sandy Firestone, and I am a program coordinator. I started with Upward Bound April of 1983. It is something that I have in my heart to work with high school students, and even more the population that we have, which are students who have some disadvantage of one sort or the other, and seeing the opportunities given and how they develop and turn and become successful is truly awesome.
When the program first started, and believe it or not, I was not here when the program first started. It was in 1966. It was more of an exposure based, because at that time, President Lyndon B. Johnson started this program as a part of his platform, which was War on Poverty. And that's how Upward Bound got started. So it was more exposure based, exposing low income students to a quality education. So at that time, all they had to do really is bring them on campus and let them see what it was like to live on campus, expose them to careers. So it was exposure. It wasn't accountability. But eventually what happened was that the government started giving, Congress started giving more money to this program, and they wanted a bigger bang for their bucks. So we had to start being more accountable. So we have objectives that we have to meet now. It's the same mission, but there are very specific objectives we have to meet in order to accomplish the mission.
So Michigan State, I'm saying this to say that the Upward Bound program at Michigan State University is one of the best in the nation. I've had 20 years experience directly with this particular program, and it still has a special place in my heart. You have a program called Upward Bound, and I love that name, Upward Bound. For you, the graduates, you are indeed upwardly bound.
They are exposed to so many leadership opportunities that we see them growing, being more assertive, having a sense of I am somebody and I have something to contribute. It's evident when they have this desire to go back to the community and do community service or engage in more service learning projects. So it really builds them up and gives them confidence. Yes.
At first, when I first came here, it was just pretty much like any other program. And then we added some things. We added study abroad before I got here full time. So we add that component. And And then we added sailing out on Lake Lansing. And we added golf.
We used to have the students in a residence hall 5 weeks. That doesn't happen anymore because of funding issues. From 5 weeks, we went to 3, to 2, and now it's 1. But still, it's a very popular activity, and it gives them a sense of what living in a residence hall is with a roommate.
So we went down to 1 week of residency so that everybody would have exposure to campus living. But then we took the funds and developed a major study trip for the students where they would still be away from home, away from campus, and we took them to different parts of the country.
A lot of the kids have not been out of the city before. And they would go to places like Boston, New York, Atlanta. There's places in the country, in this country. And they have had phenomenal experiences. Some that they don't even realize that they've had until later on that they'll remember.
The other thing that changed was we realized how important it was for the students to learn about other parts of the world. Okay, so Miss Island developed a study abroad program.
It was just being abroad and seeing how it is so different from being in this country. The smallness of everything.
Taking them to Puerto Rico in an airplane was fantastic. For them, this is the first time that they get in an airplane and fly. And so very, very interesting. And for them to experience the tropics, that is one of the ones that I have appreciated the most.
We would take the 3 outstanding students to Europe and different places. And at that time it was just for exposure, okay, just so that they could experience other parts of the world. From there it went to service learning. So we didn't want them to just go and just see other parts of the world. We wanted them to actually be engaged. So we started taking them to Jamaica, where we helped to build a school that had been torn down by a storm. We went to Ghana, and we helped to develop a library, to build a library over there for the village. And so we started doing more service learning activities and making an impact across the world. Every president wants to set his own platform, in every area, including education. Okay? So when they look at ways to spend money in education, they look at the dollar per student. I remember when I started with Upward Bound, we were serving 55 students. Okay? And so the average dollar per student was quite a high ratio. The government just looks at that and says, we want to help a lot more students for that same amount of money. What we realized was that we had to actually take our story beyond the classroom and begin to educate Congress on what we're doing, how successful we are, and why we should continue to be funded. And so we started going to Washington, D.C. every March just to educate Congress. And every year we would take success stories with us, okay? Because of course we could sit down, the educators could sit down and talk about all the services and the different things. But it was never until one of our alums actually started telling his or her story that they really began to listen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Marshall. And I'm Dr. Claudia Williams Connerly. I'm a medical doctor. I earned my Bachelor's of Electrical Engineering from Georgia Tech and my medical doctorate from Indiana University.
And I'm a board-certified pediatric dentist. I have degrees and certificates from Hampton University, the University of Michigan, Columbia University, and Howard University.
We both practice in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area.
We are both graduates of Sexton High School, and we both participated in the Michigan State Upward Bound program.
So we didn't leave it to Congress to listen to one person or two people who would have an opinion about our programs. We went and we told our own story, and that made a difference.
We were both considered disadvantaged students and were both raised by single moms. For me, Upward Bound was a huge equalizer that helped make up for my disadvantage.
My experiences in Upward Bound helped prepare me for 11 years of higher education.
We have, over the past 20 years, served more than 1,300 students. We have, within that 1,300 students, averaged at least 88% success in getting those students into a post-secondary institution of education.
At the end of that fight, not only did we survive elimination, but we received the biggest increase ever. So that was really confirmation for us that we have to continue to tell our story.
You know, overall, I could say that I remember a student because of this or because of that, but in reality, you know, when you really think about it, all of them are there in your mind doing this thing together.
They're glad to get out of class at the start, especially when they're freshmen or sophomores, and they want to come take the bus and come here. It's a Michigan State bus, and it's all pretty, and they like that. But once they get here, they realize that we're serious, and they become more and more mature each year. And by the time that they're seniors, they want to go to college, they want to, you know, do all these things.
Once they graduate and go to college, they come back and thank us for, you know, never giving up on them, you know. And so to watch them to blossom and grow and become productive citizens, and I think probably even more rewarding is when they reach out to help someone else.
So you're sitting here right here today, you're gonna be me someday. You're gonna come and talk to somebody, you're gonna encourage your little cousins, you're gonna encourage someone else to do better and be better. This is my transformation. So I'm really excited about this because I was the student sitting in front of Mrs. Hammond, Sandy, and they were encouraging me to just live my dreams, and I was able to do that. Last year I graduated with my Master's of Science in Management, and thank you. And then
I plant a little seed because I say, just in the same way that Tiffany was here talking to you, and she was sitting on that chair a few years ago, you can be my next speaker sometime, someday, when you feel that you have something to give back to the senior class.
The program actually becomes more than just a program for our students. They come in to Upward Bound and they become connected with their classmates.
Yes, they have some close friendships. And we have some kids who are smart enough to be in the program. But more than that, they need self-esteem. And they get it here. We teach our kids to be kind to everyone. And by the time they graduate, they are kind to everyone, you know. and they pick each other up all the time.
They develop lasting relationships with each other. So if we can't find somebody, we find somebody who was in the class with a particular student, and we get in touch with them and say, well, where is John? And they can tell us.
If there's no struggle, there's no progress. If your dream is to be fulfilled on a solid foundation, you must build. Without the youth, there is no future. No one to carry on what others are left behind. So prepare yourself for what's ahead and take a chance to learn something new. So prepare yourself for what's ahead and do the best that you can do. More than just enough to get by. In Upward Bound, you will get the help you need to succeed and be the best that you can be. To find your goals, set them high, keep striving till you reach the sky. Oh, to be a sparkle of youth, reaching for tomorrow. Oh, to be a sparkle of youth, reaching for tomorrow. We are upward bound. We're going up and not down. We are upward bound. We are upward bound. We're going up and not down. We are upward bound. We're reaching for the top. We don't ever stop. No, no. We are upward bound. We're reaching for the top. We don't ever stop. Oh, we are upward bound. Upward bound. Keep on climbing.